Srinarada Uvacha Hiranyakashipu Ajeyam Ajramaram Atmanam Apratidvandvam Ekarajam Yadhitsata. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. Narada Muni said to Maharaj Yudhishthir, the demoniac king Hiranyakashipu wanted to be unconquerable and free from old age and dwindling of the body. He wanted to gain all the yogic perfections like Anima and Laghima, to be deathless, and to be the only king of the entire universe, including Brahmaloka. Purport. Such are the goals of the austerities performed by demons. Hiranyakashipu wanted to receive a benediction from Lord Brahma so that in the future he could be able to conquer Lord Brahma's abode. Similarly, another demon received a benediction from Lord Shiva, but later wanted to kill Lord Shiva through the same benediction. Thus, self interested persons by demoniac austerity want to kill even their benedictors, whereas the Vaishnava wants to remain an ever existing servant of the Lord and never to occupy the post of the Lord. Through Sayujya Mukti, which is generally demanded by Asuras, one merges into the existence of Bhagavan. But although one sometimes thus achieves the goal of the theory of monism, he falls down again to struggle in material existence. So, very important verse. This verse has a lot of teachings for us. Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyam means gold, and Kashipu means soft bed. So, Hiranyakashipu refers to greed and lust. Greed and lust. So, soft bed in Rajogun refers to lust, and in Tamogun refers to sleeping for hours together, unrestricted. That's Kashipu. And Hiranyam means gold, which means more money, more money, more opulence. So wherever there is presence of desire to make more and more money, to enjoy more and more opulences, and to sleep more and enjoy the presence of the opposite gender, all of those are tendencies of Hiranyakashipu within us. What was Hiranyakashipu's desire? Ajayam, Ajara, Amara, Apratidvandvam, Ekarajan. Wow. Ajayam, which means I don't want to be defeated. I want to be unconquerable. I want to win over all circumstances, always be happy. Everything should happen according to my plan. And apratidvandvam, there should be nobody who's competing with me. Even if somebody competes with me, I should become better than them. I should win over them. And I should never be able to see defeat. And ajara, I don't want to be old, diseased, and amara, I don't want to die. So, which means no death, no old age, no disease, and no competitors, no defeat, no sorrow, no disappointment, apratidvandvam, nobody competing with me, and ekaraja. I want to be the only king and everyone should listen to me. So Hiranyakashipu was having these very high, lofty desires. And for that, he was worshipping Lord Brahma, who is the Padma Yoni, who is the first son of Bhagavan, who appeared from Garbhodakshai Vishnu's navel comes a lotus. And from that lotus, from that Garbha Udakashai Mahavishnu, the lotus comes up, and from that lotus appears Brahma. So Brahmaji is the first being in every Brahmanda. Brahma Anda. This whole creation is in the shape of an egg, and therefore it's called Brahma Anda. And in that, Lord Brahma is the first being. So, praying to Lord Brahma, Hiranyakashipu, he performed austerities, and austerities have been described in the next few verses. We'll read that as well and then continue to discuss the same theme. In the valley of Mandara hill, Hiranyakashipu began performing his austerities by standing with his toes on the ground, keeping his arms upward and looking towards the sky. This position was extremely difficult, but he accepted it as a means to attain perfection. So he was standing in the mountain valley and standing on the tip of his toes, raising his arms, looking upwards, and maintaining this posture for many, 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 many years. Quite austere. Hiranyakashipu stood like that, quite austere. From the hair of Hiranyakashipu's head there emanated effulgent light as brilliant and intolerable as the rays of the sun at the time of dissolution. Seeing the performance of such austere penances, the Devatas, the demigods who had been wandering throughout the planets, now returned to their respective homes. Because of Hiranyakashipu's severe austerities, fire came from his head, and this fire and its smoke spread throughout the sky, encompassing the upper and lower planets, which all became extremely hot. Because of the power of his severe austerities, all the rivers and oceans were agitated. The surface of the globe with its mountains and islands began trembling, and the stars and planets fell. All directions were ablaze. Scorched and extremely disturbed because of Hiranyakashipu's severe penances, all the demigods left the planets where they were residing and went to the planet of Lord Brahma, where they informed the Creator as follows. O Lord, O Lord of the demigods, O Master of the universe, because of the fire emanating from Hiranyakashipu's head as a result of his severe austerities, we have become so disturbed that we could not stay in our planets but have come to you. So let's see some lessons and some take homes as to what's happening here. Srila Prabhupada, in the only purport that's given to these set of verses, that's the first verse, Srila Prabhupada makes an important point. He says that those who want temporary gains, typically they go to the Devatas. And they go to the Devatas only as a means, not out of love. They don't go to Brahmaji. Hiranyakashipu is not going to Brahmaji. Or we find the example of Bhasmasur or Vrikasur. He didn't go to Lord Shiva out of love. There is no question of prema there. There's no question of attachment to the Ishtadev. They are only using these demons like Hiranyakashipu, like Ravana, for example, manipulating Lord Shiva there. Bhasmasur, again manipulating Lord Shiva. All of these demons, again you see example of Banasur. All of these demons, they are taking shelter of these powerful devatas like Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, etc., only to gain some power out of them. And they want such power where they can even conquer their own master. The story of Bhasmasur that Srila Prabhupada quotes in the purport is quite horrifying. He performed austerity, and when Lord Shiva asked him, "What do you want?" he said, "I should be able to crack anybody's skull just by touching." And Lord Shiva was disgusted. What kind of benediction is that? Tapyante lokatapena sadhavo prayasho jana. Bhagavatam describes Lord Shiva is so great. Param aradhanam tadhi. Purushasya akhilatmanaha. The eighth canto Bhagavatam describes Lord Shiva is so great that he was ready to drink poison to save the whole world. And Bhagavatam says, Tapyante lokatapena, seeing the poison in the life of others, in the fact that everyone's suffering with diseases, everyone's suffering with repeated birth and death, everyone's suffering with so many problems. And over and above that, now this poison of Samudra Manthan is spreading. Having so much compassion for everyone, Lord Shiva decided to encapsulate and encompass all that poison in his palms and drink it. He was ready to drink the poison to save the world. And Bhagavatam says, those sadhus who are ready to go through austerity for the sake of others, they are performing param aradhanam. They are worshipping the Lord in the greatest fashion possible. Purushasya akhila atmanaha. Sri Bhagavan, Sri Mahavishnu, Sri Krishna, as Paramatma living in the hearts of everyone, can be worshipped in many ways. But Bhagavatam says that the best way to worship Krishna, who lives in the heart of everyone, is to take up austerity on behalf of others. Seeing that others are burning in this world, when a Vaishnav says, I will perform some austerity, I will take some hardship for benefiting others, oh, this pleases Krishna in the best way possible. You see the example of Srila Prabhupada, where for the sake of the drowning material existence, he was ready to take the Jaladuta. He was ready to take heart attacks just to save the whole world. You can see the example of Prahlad Maharaj. Naivodvijay Paraduratkaya Vaitaranyas, where Prahlad Maharaj says, I don't have any concern about myself. I will cross over this material existence by singing your glories. But shoche tatho vimukha chetasa indriyartha. My dear Lord, my heart is melting. My heart is burning with distress, seeing the pain in the lives of others. When I see that everyone around is bahirmukh. Bahirmukh means they're turning away from Bhagavan. They are not performing bhakti. They are eating meat. They are performing all forms of abominable activities, and they don't know that the reactions are going to come and bite them. Prahlad Maharaj says, my dear Lord, I am feeling bad for them. I really feel bad for them. In Gaura Leela, we find associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Vasudev. You find so many examples. They are in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. It's so much compassion that they are praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, uh, Vasudev the leper, his description comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where he had open wounds and sores in his body, and there were worms eating the blood and drinking the pus of those wounds in his body. And many times they would fall off his body, and he would dip down, pick them up, and put them back into the wound. Why? Because he felt these worms, they are only living off my blood and the fluids of my body. If they're separated from there, what will they eat? And anyway, this body belongs to Bhagavan. Krishna has to feed his jivas. May he feed them through my body. I have no problem. Thinking like this, he would put them back. When associates of Mahaprabhu, like Namacharya Haridas Thakur, being whipped in 22 marketplaces, and he's only praying. Haridas Thakur was being whipped, 100 whips in every marketplace, and 22 marketplaces like that, only to kill him. The road was painted in blood, the blood of Namacharya Haridas Thakur. His bones were breaking, his skin was completely ripped. Like a merciless tyrant, they were dragging Haridas Thakur's body as if he was an animal. And what was Haridas Thakur's only desire? My dear Lord, please, please make them chant Harinam. I have no problem. Khanda khanda deha jai jadi jai pran. I have no problem. I am ready to die. No problem. But may Harinam not stop on my tongue, and may Harinam not stop on their tongue. That's my only desire. Many times they would whip Haridas Thakur and they would say, Bolo, will you chant Hare Krishna anymore? And they would whip him and he would say, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And they would say, and Hari Bol. And Haridas Thakur would say, you said Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. He was in more ecstasy seeing that they repeated his Hari Bol. He was praying for them. He was praying for them. All these great personalities, Sri Shivji in the Samudra Manthan Leela, or Advaita Acharya Prabhu, whose heart was burning in compassion, seeing nobody in Navadvip was performing bhakti. They were all stuck in rituals. They were all going to the temple. They were all reading Shastra, but it was very temporary. It had nothing to do with bhakti. Or whether Vasudev or Prahlad Maharaj, all these, or Srila Prabhupada, all these great souls teach us that tapyante lokatapena sadhavo prayasho jana, that sadhus are those who go through hardships in their life for the betterment of others. Sadhus are like candles. They are ready to melt in their life only to give light to others. And can you imagine, to such a sadhu like Lord Shiva, Bhasmasur or Vrikasur comes and says, just give me the benediction that I should be able to crack somebody's skull by touch. How disgusting. And Lord Shiva said, okay, tadastu, may that happen. And what did he do? This Bhasmasur ran behind Lord Shiva to touch and test that benediction. Let me see if it cracks your head, because he had some attraction towards Mother Parvati. How nasty is that? You get benedictions from Lord Shiva, and to get Mother Parvati, now you're going to kill Lord Shiva with the boon that Lord Shiva mercifully gave you. So Prabhupada is writing in the purport, very beautiful point, that these demons, like Hiranyakashipu here, or Vrikasur, or even Ravana for that matter, they only use their masters for temporary gains because their self interest, their egoistic desires matter to them the most. And whoever fulfills it, they're okay. There is nothing like attachment to the master. On the other hand, if you see Vaishnavas, they are at the feet of Mahavishnu, they are at the feet of Narayana, they are at the feet of Sri Ramachandra, they are at the feet of Sri Krishna, Sri Narasimha. And whatever comes in life, whether happiness or distress, whether heat or cold, whether honor or dishonor, their faith in their master doesn't dwindle. They don't worship their master to get honor. They don't worship their master to get joy. And they don't give up their master when they get reversal. In fact, they don't ask their master anything. Maro bhi rakho bhi jo ichha tuhar, nitya dasa prati tua adhikar. My dear Lord, you can do whatever you want with me. You want to keep me as a poor beggar? Chauni patitvam athava ekam akinchanatvam nityam dadasi bahumanam athapamanam vaikunthavasam athava narake nivasam ha vasudeva mama nasti gatistvadanya. My dear Lord, if you are happy keeping me in hell, I will live in hell forever. If you are happy keeping me a poverty-stricken beggar, I will be a poverty-stricken beggar forever. If you are happy in bringing ill fame to me, dishonor to me, that dishonor is paramasukha, the greatest joy for me, my dear Lord. This is my only desire. I don't want anything else. So they come to the Lord, they come to their master, not asking anything. Whatever the master gives us, they are happy with it. न नाकपृष्ठं न च पारमेष्ठ्यं न सार्वभौमं न रसाधिपत्यं न योगसिद्धिरपुनर्भवं वा समञ्जसत्वा विरहय्यकाङ्क्षे. Vritrasura has chanted the same thing in purified consciousness. My dear Lord, I don't want to scratch anything out of you. Whatever you give me, I will be happy. I just want service to your lotus feet. Salokya sarshthi samipya sarupyam ekatvam evacha diyamanam na grinhanti vina matsevanam jana. In the third canto of Bhagavatam, Kapila Muni is saying the same thing. My devotees are such that even if I give them Vaikuntha, even if I give them forms like mine, even if I give them opulence like mine, if I don't give them service to my lotus feet, they don't want anything else. To serve the master, if they have to have the same form, so be it. To serve the master, if you have to live in Vaikuntha, so be it. To serve the master, if you have to have Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, so be it. But if we can serve even without it, we don't want anything else. Should be the desire that, my dear Lord, mama janmani ishware bhavatad bhakti rahaitu kitoi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shikshashtakam. That my only desire is to serve you. And Bhagavatam says, ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. If we really want to be happy, yato bhaktir adhokshaje, one must approach Bhagavan. So that's the second point now. In Indian culture, or quote unquote Sanatan Dharma, which gets propagated, many times we are taught that our system is a polytheistic system where you can worship anyone, you can go anywhere, you can do anything. And sometimes people even preach like that, that there can be different ways, but the goal remains the same. But according to Shastra, that is not the conclusion. I want to present a few verses, very nice verses. We have a little compilation here. Starting with Bhagavad Gita, you can see in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 19, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Krishna has said after many, many lifetimes, Bahunam janmanam ante. The one who has realized the essence will understand Vasudeva sarvamiti. That everything around, every circumstance, every jiva, every interaction is only the mercy of Vasudeva. Who is Vasudeva? The son of Vasudeva, Sri Krishna. Vasudeva Sarvamiti also means that my everything is Vasudeva. So two meanings, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. It could mean everything around me is the mercy and the blessings of Vasudeva. Or another meaning could be, for me, everything is Vasudeva only. My master Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi. My father is Vasudeva. My mother is Vasudeva. My eternal master is Vasudeva, Krishna. So does that mean one should disrespect the devatas? The answer is no. We don't disrespect anyone. We should not disrespect anyone, including the ants, including the trees. A Vaishnava feels very bad when accidentally ants are killed under his feet, or when you see children while playing many times, they have this bad habit. At least I have seen uh, some children do this. They'll be playing with other children in the neighborhood, and as they're sitting, let's say they're sitting next to a plant, they're talking to their friend and just picking leaves. Have you seen? They just keep pulling branches, they keep playing with, they just keep pinching and pulling and picking on something, tearing these leaves, walking with a stick, hurting all these creepers. The children don't realize, but this all brings in karmic implication because we are hurting. Vaishnavas are such that you find the example of Mrigari. He was killing animals. And after he started performing bhakti, he could not even step on an ant. So when he had to offer obeisance, Narada Muni, he was taking his upper cloth and cleaning the place so that all the ants are taken to the side. And then he can offer obeisances. So Narada Muni saw the transformation. This Mrigari was a hunter, cruel hunter. And now by performing bhakti, he has become so humble he cannot even hurt an ant. So the first point is in our discussion, demons, asuras, they worship devatas for temporary gain. But devotees, they worship Narayana selflessly. We don't want anything from the Lord. Second point, whom to worship, where to go. Our point is one pointed, Sri Ramachandra or Sri Krishna or Narayana, Vishnu Murti. Hmm? For some, their Ishtadev is Sri Ramachandra. For some, their Ishtadev is Sri Krishna. For some, their Ishtadev is Lakshmi Narayana or Lakshmi Narasimha. Yes, but you should be in this boundary of Vishnu Tattvas, depending on your inclination. In the Gita, here we can see Bahunam Janmanamante, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Krishna is saying such a person is a Mahatma who worships Bhagavan with one pointed intelligence. Next, you can see another very beautiful reference. This is found straight in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha. This is Canto 1, Chapter 2, text 28 and 29. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriya, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapah, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragati. You can see the word Vasudev coming so many times. No other Devata's name is coming, only Vasudev. And this is second chapter of the first canto of Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam, where Suta Goswami is very clearly saying, Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha. The essence, and Srila Sridhar Swami Pad in his Bhavartha Deepika commentary has given two meanings. One of the meanings he says is that all the Vedas are derived from Vasudev. Therefore, when you see different leaves, flowers, fruits, trunk, branches, sub branches, they're all rooted in the roots, which is the unseen reality. So Krishna or Vasudeva is the unseen reality. You can see him, he's the root. And all these Vedas are fruits coming out from this root. So Vasudeva Paraveda means you follow the Vedas and the Vedas will take you to the root. That is Vasudeva Sri Krishna. And Vasudeva Paramakha. Makha means all the Vedic sacrifices, all the sacrificial rites, the purpose of all the yajnas, the purpose of all the anushtans, the purpose of all the festivals, the purpose of all utsav is bhakti to Vasudeva. If you have people coming in and if you're worshipping, but the purpose is not worshipping Vasudeva with bhakti to attain service to his lotus feet, we are missing the point. Sometimes it is very painful that, because I'm from Mumbai, I'm saying this. When we grew up in Mumbai, we saw that during Ganesh Chaturthi, they used to offer arati to Lord Ganesha, but then in front of Lord Ganesha, they used to have Bollywood dancing. They used to play in big, big speakers, DJ speakers, woofers, literally. They used to have Bollywood. And the dancing also, if you see, completely tamasic. People are drunk. There's money all over. People are only thinking of what to cook for the evening and what kind of Bollywood dancing. And Ganesh ji with big ears, he's coming only for 1 week, once a year. And he's coming with such big ears. And what are we filling into his ears? All this DJ music. So what kind of bhakti is that? What kind of bhakti? The words are not saintly. The dancing is not saintly. It is not for the pleasure of Lord Ganesha. Bhagavatam has such high standards. Worship the greatest and worship him with the greatest mood. Only this can cause happiness. Bhagavatam says very clearly that Yato Bhaktir Adhokshaje, worship Vishnu. And how to worship him? Ahaituki, no material desires. Don't ask anything material from him. And apratihata, worship him daily, not according to our moods. Not when there is exam, I'll come to the temple, or when I don't get a job, I come to the temple, or when I go through dukkha, I come to the temple. No. Sukhe thako, dukhe thako, sada hari bole dakho. Whether happiness or distress, Maro bhi rakho bhi jo ichha tuhar. Inside the house or outside the house. Grihe va banatya thake ha gauranga bole dake narotama magi taro sanga. Whether happiness or distress, whether inside the house or outside the house. Serving the Lord every single day without material desires, out of love, begging for only serving his feet. This brings in joy. Bhagavatam says, Yaya Atma Suprasidati. By performing this, one will be happy. But if you worship the wrong personality, if you worship the right personality but with the wrong intention, with the wrong mood, Shastra Vidhi Mutsrujya, one will never be happy. One can get popularity, one can get money, one can get position, but one cannot have bliss. So this is the second phrase, Vasudeva Para Makha. Vasudeva Para Yoga. All the yoga paths, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, they all culminate in Vasudev. Bhagwan ke charanon mein. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So that verse of the Gita that we've learned, 7:19, is hinting us to 1, 2, 28 and 29 of the Bhagavatam. Because that just said Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Now the elaboration on what that Sarvam is there in this set. Vasudeva Para Yoga. The aim of all yoga is Vasudeva. Now, if you see around the world, yoga studios have been created, especially in the Western world, we see. In India, it's called Yoga Shivir, but in America, it's called Yoga Studio. And yoga mats are given, and people come and they perform different types of asanas and pranayam. For what purpose? Only to have better bodily fitness, only so that they can get a good boyfriend or a good girlfriend, or live happily or look very attractive. And even if they're 50 years old, they want to look 30 years old. That is the purpose of the yoga. And they have like different types of yoga. There's a cardio yoga. There's more singing yoga. So many different styles. So where music is being played, someone with a guitar, and as he changes the music, your asanas change. So you have some music to the ear and at the same time some asanas for the body. But Patanjali ji did not bring in yoga for this purpose. Yoga, yuj dhatu means to connect. The purpose of yama and niyama and asana and pranayam, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, all of this, the purpose is to connect to Bhagavan. That is the purpose of yoga. So that we can meditate, we can regulate our breathing, we can chitta vritti nirodhaka. Yoga has been defined as that which removes the rajogun and tamogun from the mind. And you can, without any distraction, without any deviation, remember Bhagavan. That is the purpose. That is the purpose of yoga. But now we have Vikrit, we have the distorted form of yoga that we see. But Bhagavatam says Vasudeva Para Yoga. Then Vasudeva Para Kriya. All activities are meant for the pleasure of Vasudeva. All activities. We go to work, we should think like this. We go to work, why? So that we make the money. Why we make the money? So that we can pay for the house, or we can pay for the car, and we can pay for the children, right? For the expenses of the house. Now, why we want to do that? Many will say, so that I can be happy. But our chain goes like this. Okay, we want to work. Why? So that we want to make the money. Why? So that we can pay off the bills. Why? So that we have a place where we all can sit and do Hare Krishna. We can hear about Krishna, we can read about Krishna. Imagine if you have no money, you're not able to pay the bills, and let's say you're going to lose the house next month. In that anxiety, can you sit and read Bhagavatam? You can't. We all need stability. So if you know we have a job where we have the money, with the money we have stability in the house, we are able to pay the rent, we are able to pay the different groceries and the electricity and the Wi-Fi, etc. Then in that place, the husband, the wife, the children, they read Bhagavatam, they chant Krishna's names. Then we can be happy. So that peace that we just said right now, that's the essence, that's the heartbeat of the whole program. So Vasudeva Para Kriya, even going to work is so that at home we can chant Hare Krishna. Even when we are traveling in the bus or in the train, I know one very great soul. He is about 70 years old. He travels everywhere in train. Even when you give him flight ticket, he will only travel in train in India. Why? He will say that if I go in the flight, I will reach the place in 2 hours. But then after I reach, then I'll have to talk to all the devotees. But instead, if I travel 15 hours in the train, it gives me exclusive time to study. Because nobody will talk to me, nobody knows me. He will say, I will sit, I will go into the upper berth, sit there and read, prepare notes, study for 15 hours. And then when you feel enthused, he says, then I get down and that same Bhagavatam I distribute to so many people in the train. He was mentioning people enter the train and people exit at every station. So there's a constant flux of who's coming in and who's leaving, and they can't escape. When the train is moving, nobody can jump out. So you have constant, for book distribution, for distributing Bhagavatam, for distributing Bhagavad Gita, you have constant customers. Otherwise, you have to, in a plane, you cannot do that. You cannot walk around distributing Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita in the train. And if you have to do that outside, then you have to go to people. But here, people are ready. So, Vaishnavas, even in their travel, they are thinking of serving Krishna. This is the meaning of Vasudeva Para Kriya. सभी कार्यों के स्रोत मूल वासुदेव हैं, भगवान है. Then Vasudeva Param Jnanam, the purpose of all study is to serve Vasudev. Vasudeva Param Tapaha, the purpose of all penances, कोई भी व्रत करें, it is only to serve Vasudev. Now, if you see the contrast, on one hand you have Hiranyakashipu, and on the other hand you have Dhruva Maharaj. Both performed austerity. Both were standing on one leg, or Hiranyakashipu on the tip of his toes and Dhruva Maharaj on one leg. And both were influencing the whole world with their austerity. Hiranyakashipu was influencing the whole world. Dhruva Maharaj was influencing the whole world. But what is the difference? What is the difference between the two? Dhruva Maharaj also had material desire. He also wanted a kingdom bigger than his father, grandfather, great grandfather. And Hiranyakashipu also had material desire. But the difference is one worshipped Brahmaji and one worshipped Vishnu. So, what was attained after offering 10 heads, that was offered by Ravana, that was offered by Ramachandra to Vibhishan just by bowing down once. This is the difference between Devatas and Bhagavan. We don't belong to the Devatas. It is a business transaction. You go to them, you pray to them. First of all, we are not their part and parcel. हम उनके अंश नहीं हैं. We are parts of Bhagavan. Therefore, that relation is different. What chacha can give, what mama can give, cannot equal what our father can give. So devatas are relatives. They are our extended family. But Vishnu is the master. He is the father. So he gives with love. So first of all, the connection is deeper with Vishnu. Secondly, devatas can give only material things. Vishnu can give material and spiritual. Third, once devatas give, you lose all the credit for all the tapasya that you have done. So let's say you stand like Hiranyakashipu and you please Brahmaji. Brahmaji will give you what he can give. He cannot give you what he doesn't have. And once he gives you, you have paid and you have received. So now your tapasya has become zero. But with Vishnu, it's not like that. Vishnu gives material and spiritual things. And even after he gives, your bhajan remains eternal. You offer one tulsi leaf and he gives you association of Vaishnavas. Still, that offering of tulsi leaf is there in your credit. So it's eternal. It cannot be, you cannot give money and get something, and then in a business transaction, you give money, you get a commodity, now finished. That money is gone. But with Vishnu, that money remains with you and you still get newer and newer things. Now, the third and most important thing, Devatas will give us whatever we ask for, but Vishnu will give us what is good for us. If the child is asking for fire, the mother will never give the child fire. Never, 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 never. Because the fire is not good for the child. Just because the child is asking for fire, not possible. The mother will never give. The mother will never give something that is not good for the child. On the other hand, you can see if there is someone else, some other relative, if the child is crying for a balloon or crying for some candy, they will feel, okay, बच्चे को शांत करने के लिए, to pacify the child, whatever the child needs, let me give. Let me give a chocolate. Let me give a toffee. Let me give a candy. Let me give an ice cream. Because the purpose is in satisfying the child, pacifying the child. But the mother will say, let him cry, no problem. He will cry for 2 minutes and then he'll keep quiet, the mother will say. Because she is not thinking of pacifying the child. She is thinking of giving the child what is good for the child. Therefore, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapaha. The essence of all knowledge is Krishna. The purpose of all austerity is Krishna. We perform Ekadashi Vrat to please him. We wake up early and we chant to please him. We study Shastra to please him. All our austerities is only to please him. Vasudeva Paro Dharmo. The greatest dharma is serving Vasudeva. And ultimately Vasudeva Paragatihi. Our greatest gati, our greatest destination is the feet of Vasudeva. Another verse. Akama sarvakamo va mokshakama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10. This says that one must yajeta 2, 3, 10 Bhagavatam. दूसरे स्कंद के तीसरे अध्याय का 10वां श्लोक. Bhagavatam says yajeta, one must worship. Whom should one worship? Param Purusham, the greatest Purusha. Govindam Adi Purusham. We should worship Krishna. We should worship Narayana. We should worship Ramachandra with all our heart. Don't get confused. Sanatan Dharma doesn't say that there are many gods. Sanatan Dharma says there is only one God, that is Narayana. Only one personality. यथा तरुर्मूल निषेचनेन तृप्यन्ति तत्स्कंद भुजोऽपि शाखा प्राणोपहारा च यथेन्द्रियाणां तथैव सर्वारणम अच्युत ईज्या. भगवान अच्युत कृष्ण. अहम आत्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशय स्थितः. गीता. Krishna says, I am the Paramatma in everyone's heart. Bhagavatam 4th canto says, worship Krishna, Achyuta, and everybody will be pleased. However, if somebody doesn't want bhakti, doesn't have any taste in worshipping Narayana, instead of becoming an atheist, instead of becoming Nastic, okay, worship the Devata that you like. And by their blessings, someday Vishnu Bhakti will rise in the heart. So that is a compromise. It is not a prescription. If you can do the best, okay, then you can settle for the next. That is the prescription. Instead of being an atheist, at least worship Brahmaji, at least worship Shivji, at least worship Ganesha. Seek their blessings. And by their blessings, Vishnu Bhakti will rise in the heart. This is the purpose. Sanatan Dharma very clearly, emphatically says, Eko Narayano Sakshat. Bhagwan Narayan ke charanon mein bhajan karo. He will take care of you. He will take care of us. So here it says, Akama. कोई भौतिक इच्छाएं नहीं है. There are no material desires, no problem. Sarva Kama. You have all material desires, still no problem. Moksha Kama. You have desire to go to Vaikuntha, no problem. Whatever our state may be, tivrena, with great enthusiasm, bhakti yogena, perform bhakti. At whose lotus feet? Purusham Param. Srila Rup Goswami Pad in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu very clearly defines bhakti as anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhakti ruttama. Only performing service with affection favorably according to Shastra at the feet of Krishna, Ramachandra, Narayana is called bhakti. Unto other devatas, this is not called bhakti. You can be a upasak, you can be a worshipper, upasak, but you cannot be called a premi. You cannot be called a devotee. That is at the feet of Bhagavan alone. At the feet of devatas, that is not a devotee. That is not a bhakta. Bhaj dhatu is only for seva at the feet of Narayana. Hmm? Another verse, very beautiful verse. Sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labate jasa swarga apavargam madhama katanchit yadi vanchati. 11th canto, 11वां स्कंद, एकादश स्कंद, 20वां अध्याय, 33वां श्लोक. So 11th canto, 20th chapter text, 33. Lord Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. Sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labhate anjasa. My devotee attains whatever he wants. Mad bhakti yogena, by performing bhakti unto me. Look how wonderfully the words mad has been used in this verse. This is 11, 20, 33 Bhagavatam. Mad bhakti yogena, by performing bhakti yoga at my lotus feet. Mad bhaktaha, मेरा भक्त मेरा भजन करके मद धाम attains my dham. Why that my mud has been used? Because of affection. Krishna is saying, my devotee attains my abode by worshipping my lotus feet with so much affection for me. And in the Gita also you can see, man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Why that mad has been used so many times? Out of affection for his devotee. मेरा भक्त मेरी भक्ति करके मेरे चरणों की प्राप्ति करके मेरे धाम में वास करता है. दिस नो देवता विल स्पीक. दे कैनॉट से माई, क्योंकि हम है ही नहीं उनके, हम तो ठाकुर जी के हैं. वी बिलोंग टू कृष्णा. With others, we can have transaction, we can have business, temporary deals. So we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about Saturn Mahadasha. You don't have to worry about Mangal. You don't have to Mangal Bhavana Amangala Hari Dhrubahu Sudasaratachara Bihari. By worshipping Sri Ramachandra, Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet. Impossible becomes possible. Unfavorable becomes favorable. Unfavorable becomes favorable, and favorable remains favorable. Wow. प्रतिकूल अनुकूल होकर अनुकूल तो अनुकूल ही होता है. सो नाइस. ऐसे स्वामी जिनके चरणों में ऐसी छत्र छाया में केवल ठंडक ही ठंडक, कोई ताप नहीं. देर इज नो हीट. निर्वापनम परम शीतलम आश्रयामी. At whose lotus feet there is only koti chandra sushitala. There is only rejuvenating, soothing, relaxing, cold, comforting moonbeam like shelter. Ah. So nice. Sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labhate anjasa. My devotee attains whatever he wants very quickly by worshipping me, Krishna says. Similarly, you can find another wonderful verse. Gita. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrun yanti pitruvrata bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhyajino bhima. Krishna says, depending on whom you worship, that's where you go. If somebody worships the devatas, they will go to the abode of the devatas. But if somebody worships me, they will come to me. So somebody will say, what is the problem? You go to Krishna, I will go to some devata. But there is a problem. Abrahma bhuvana aloka punaravartinorjuna. They cannot keep you in their house. They can keep you in their guest house. They cannot keep you in their house. They can keep you in their guest house, which means there is an entry point, and after a few days, you have to exit. But Bhagavan doesn't keep anybody in his guest house. He keeps everybody in his house. And because his house is eternal, you don't have to come back to this world. For devatas, yes, we worship them, we go there. But then when their term is over, We have to come down. Kshine punnye martyalokam vishanti. All of these verses are not my opinion. Why I'm quoting these verses? Because this is Shastra Praman. Krishna himself has said, "A Brahma Bhuvanaloka Punaravartino Arjuna." You go to the abode of the Devatas, then you come back. Let's see another beautiful verse from Shastra. In fact, in the Gita and the Bhagavatam, there are very, very instructive and very beautiful verses establishing the same theme of Devatas and Bhagavan. Now, this is a verse from the Vishnu Puran, third canto, 8th chapter, text 9. The reason we are giving Praman from different angles of vision, so that we don't think that this is driven on the basis of one book. And if you see, these are Praman all given by Bhagavan, either in the Gita to Arjun or in the Bhagavad to Uddhava or as Vyasadeva in the Puranas. Varnashramacharvata purushena parapuman Vishnur aradhyate pantha nanyatra tosha karanam. The Vishnu Puran says, Varnashrama आचारवता पुरुषेण परपुमान विष्णु आराध्यते पंथा न अन्यत्र तोष कारण. द पर्पस ऑफ ऑल वर्णाश्रम, कोई ब्रह्मचारी है, कोई गृहस्थ है, कोई सन्यासी है, कोई ब्राह्मण है, कोई क्षत्रिय है. द पर्पस ऑफ ऑल ऑफ दिस ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य शूद्र ब्रह्मचारी गृहस्थ वानप्रस्थ सन्यासी इज ओनली वन थिंग, संसिद्धिर हरितोषणम. somehow or the other, येन केन प्रकारेण मन कृष्णे निवेशयेत. Remember Sri Hari. Remember Sri Hari. आराधितो यदि हरि तपसा तत किम, नाराधितो यदि हरि तपसा तत किम, अंतर बहि यदि हरि तपसा तत किम, नांतर बहि यदि हरि तपसा तत किम. ये ऐसा कौन सा श्लोक है कि चारों लाइन एक ही तरह लग रहा है. Once when I in my childhood heard this verse, I thought I heard it wrong. I was thinking ये चारों लाइन एक ही श्लोक के एक ही समान है. But it has different meanings. Aradhito yadi Hari. If we worship Hari, tapasa tatakyam, what is the need for any other tapasya? If you're remembering Krishna, if you're worshipping Krishna, what is the need for any other thing? There is no need for any other extra austerity. I will sleep on the floor, I will not cut my nails, I will walk backwards. People sometimes you see ritualistically they take up some vrat. Next 1 month, I will not eat salt. You're not eating salt, but you're watching movies. What is the use? What is the use? Instead, you eat salt, you eat malpua. We have no problem. But you chant Hare Krishna. Aradhito yadi hari tapasa tatakyam. If you're actually doing bhajan, what is the need for any other austerity? And na aradhito yadi hari. If you're not performing bhajan to Sri Hari, to Sri Krishna, what is the use of all other austerities? Sometimes people only grow their beard, but they don't chant. They grow their nails, but they don't chant. They don't read Bhagavatam. Upavas. Upa means closer, vasa means to reside. Okay, on the day of fasting, you have fruits, no problem. You have milk, no problem. You take what, not grains, but you take what will keep your body healthy. But instead of watching TV, that day you sacrifice. Keep away from all of that and do bhajan. Antar bahi yadi hari tapasa tatakyam. If you have Krishna inside and out in your life, what is the need for any other austerity? And na antar yadi bahir hari. If Krishna is not inside and outside, if he's not the goal of our life, then what is the use of all the austerity? Everything should be Shastra Praman. So this is what this verse from Vishnu Puran says. So now coming back to our explanation of the Bhagavatam. Hiranyakashipu, he is worshipping Brahmaji with so much intensity. And this intensity of his tapasya, material desire, is influencing the whole world. So somebody may think, how is this possible? One person sitting and doing tapasya somewhere and devatas are getting affected, rivers are trembling, mountains are trembling. Sometimes when we read these things, we may think, how is this possible? How can this be possible? Well, it is very much possible. If one coronavirus could affect the whole world, one little virus went around and you see changed life for the negative. Or on the other hand, you can see one Srila Prabhupada did bhajan in Radha Damodar and the whole world is chanting Hare Krishna. This is the way we understand. on the negative front or on the positive front. You can see one terrorist sitting somewhere and he causes havoc in the whole world. Or one Bhajananandi sadhu sitting somewhere chanting Hare Krishna, sincerely trying to serve Krishna. And you can see. So Hiranyakashipu, he performs vrat and disturbs the whole world, all the devatas out of helplessness. I have gone to Lord Brahmaji now, and they are offering prayers. So we finished 6 verses. So day after tomorrow, we'll continue from the 7th verse. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.